All right, welcome, welcome. So glad to have all of you here, and I know we'll have some more people joining us shortly, but I just want to thank you for taking your time to be here with me. I really hope to give you as much value as possible during our time together, and we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to go pretty fast, but I really appreciate you spending your time with me and hope we can make this time as useful as possible. If we haven't met, some of you I've met personally and talked with personally, but if we haven't met, I hope to do that at some point beyond this call, and also love to try and connect other people. So if I can do anything to facilitate you meeting other people who are here, who I know, or other things, I'm happy to do that. So with that, if you can share in the chat, share a little bit more about you and what you're trying to learn and accomplish tonight, that helps us know who's here in the room, and we'll get started here. I'll share my screen, and we'll get rolling. But the topic, as you know, is we're going to be talking about career transitions, and not just any career transitions, but I'd say intentional career transitions, which is really trying to do this in a way that's in line with our values, our purpose, and where we want to go and what we really want to do with our lives and our careers. So, and the people I hope that you are, I believe that you are, which is why you're here. This is for purpose-driven engineers, and there's still plenty of time left here in 2021, or maybe you're looking forward to the future, but we're trying to think, how can we design our careers and our lives in a way that is in line with what we want to do and who we are as a person. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be building up a structure and providing these 4 keys to how to do that. So throughout the presentation, what I don't want this to be is just a straight lecture. I want to engage you in a few different ways. And one of those ways is something that I call the quick chat. So we're going to practice this here right at the very beginning. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question, and what I want you to do is type the answer in the chat box, but don't press enter. Like, don't send it until I do a 3, 2, 1 countdown. And so then all of our responses come in simultaneously. Okay, then we can kind of see what everyone's saying all at once. And thanks for those of you who are introducing yourselves. I appreciate getting to know you, Michael and Gihan. Hopefully I'm saying your name appropriately. But with the quick chat, we're gonna practice this, and to start off, I'm just gonna ask you this question: where are you joining us from? Okay, so I want you to type the answer in the chat, and then in a second I'm gonna do a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and we'll all press enter and see where everyone's joining us from. Okay, so type your answer in. We'll go 3, 2, 1, press enter. Okay, Provo, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Saudi Arabia, Bay Area, California, San Diego, Indiana, Washington, D.C. We have people all over the country and internationally. It's fun to see Saudi Arabia and Trinidad and Tobago. So this is fun. This is exciting for me to see where people are from, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thanks so much for being here. No matter where you are, what time of day it is, I want to make the best use of our time in Redmond, Washington. Thanks, Arthi. So if you don't know, if we haven't met before, my name is Jeff Perry. A couple years ago, I founded More Than Engineering, and my career has taken me a lot of different places. Been on the front lines of doing mechanical engineering, which is what I got my technical degree in. But I did software development for a few years. I did manufacturing, and I had leadership opportunities. Got my MBA last year, and also have been hosting a podcast called the Engineering Career Coach Podcast for about a year as well. So done a lot of different things. But really excited to talk here tonight. My promise is for you, for the time that we're going to spend here, is that by the end of this training, by the end of this time we have together, you're going to have some clear actions, you're going to have some adjustments and steps that you can take so that you can make that intentional career move, that transition that you're looking for. I'm going to teach you what I call the next level engineering career formula and how you can start to apply it right away. Now, I want this, though, to be a different kind of webinar. Like, This isn't something where you can just, wave a magic wand or push a magic button or click here and spend $2,000 and you magically get the result you're gonna, you're looking for. Now, I do have an opportunity to work with me some more, but I promise you that you're going to get value from what we talk about today, whether or not we end up doing more work together. That's my goal. Okay, so some of the things we're going to talk about are some of the things I hear over and over and over again from dozens and hundreds of conversations I've had with engineers looking to make changes over the last 2 years since I've been doing this. So I get people asking me, like, how do I find career clarity, or maybe some call that North Star for their career and their lives? Like, how do I know what I'm pointing towards? How do I get and really dial in an effective strategy that lands interview or other job opportunities? And then when we get those, how do I make the most of every one of those opportunities so that I can interview appropriately and negotiate well? And how do I know who the right people are that I can find as mentors and people who can help me along the way? Okay, so these are some of the things I get asked a lot, which is why these are some of the topics we're going to be covering tonight. My invitation to you is to just be present. Really engage with the group, with the content. If you can turn off any other apps, or you turn off your phone unless that's what you're using to tune into. Facebook was down yesterday. Let's just pretend it's still down, and really just engage here. Get out a notebook, take notes, and see what you discover. Okay? So as we get started here, I want you to meet Ben. Ben is someone who I met almost a year ago. And he's someone who had a lot of different things. And when we first met, these are some of the things Ben was telling me. He had gotten laid off as part of COVID, but he was an experienced engineer. But these are some of the things he told me. He said, I'm getting no interview opportunities. But what he was struggling with, he said, I can't clearly communicate what I really want to do with my career and where I want to go at this point. And I feel like not moving forward, I feel like I'm being left behind by other people. I feel stuck. And I know my peers, even when I was working before, are getting paid more than me. So even then he felt like he was being left behind. And he just knows that he could do a great job if someone would give him another chance. Okay, so he's in this tough spot. And so I want you to look at these statements, and we're going to do another quick chat like we did before. Remember, just type your answer in the chat box, but don't press enter until we do a countdown. But my question is, which of those statements that Ben said, do any of them relate with you personally? Or maybe something similar. So I'll go back to this in a second, but I want you to answer this question. Any of those things that Ben said relate with you personally? This will help me know where we want to focus in today, okay? So I'm going to go back here and look at these statements, type in at least the essence of it, any of these statements in the chat box that relate well with you. Give you just a few more seconds here, and then we'll do a 3, 2, 1 countdown, okay? But type in your answer. All right, 3, 2, 1, enter. Okay, yeah, still trying to land that all-important interview, getting no interview opportunities after school. Be better at something other than what you're doing right now, maybe? Someone just giving you a chance, says Michael. So trying to learn what I want to do with my career. Lots of different things here. Also in that same position since COVID, which can be tough. So a lot of different things here. And so I want to say we're going to talk about things that are going to help you move through these sorts of challenges, okay? So, but how did I discover this? I'm going to share the framework. As I said, I got my mechanical engineering degree. It's been almost 10 years now. I graduated well. I was really pretty good in school. I graduated magna cum laude. I was a great student, but I didn't have all that many friends, to be honest, when I was in school. But I learned early on the value of networking, but it just sort of fell in my lap because I was a math TA and then I was a physics TA, which led me a friend's had an opportunity in a research lab, and those connections in the research labs landed me my first job, which actually from an engineering degree, mechanical engineering degree, I actually ended up as a software developer. And so I was like, software development? Why not? Let's give it a try, okay? So I graduated and I tried out the software development thing. I figured, at least I'll learn some things from it. But as I got into it, it was okay. I had an okay but not great salary. but it was at a really large company, so there was a lot of bureaucracy, and because it was kind of a new grad program they were doing, there was some limited growth. I felt like I was kind of being held back. And I also realized that for me personally, I didn't actually like software. I didn't actually like sitting down and writing code all the time. I got pretty bored pretty quickly. And so I started asking myself and trying things out, like what else is there? I explored entrepreneurship. I was selling stuff on Amazon and sourcing things from China and other places. I was trying all sorts of other things to like activate other parts of my brain and find some engagement, because I wasn't finding that in my main work. But I did learn a lot of things. I gained a lot of skills. I gained a lot of skills on how to design a product. I learned a lot about Agile and Scrum methodologies, kind of became the team expert on that. Learned about project management. I learned about certainly software and other things. But I knew that I needed a change. And so I was actually traveling one time. And again, something fell in my lap, a conversation with a family friend. And they said, you know what? We work in a smaller company. And some of the things you're talking about, you've had a lot of different engineering experiences. Mechanical. You now know software. You've done some entrepreneurship stuff. We need someone like you. And I was confused. I was like, wait, what? I was, at the time, unsure of like where I would even go or how I could leverage the skills that I had thus far into doing something. And so I was like, okay, I gave it a chance. I interviewed, turned out pretty well, turned into a 40% raise, a move, and a leadership position. I was like, cool. Well, I guess this networking thing really works, even though it just keeps falling in my lap. And that new role actually ended up being a really good thing for me in a lot of ways. Got me on kind of a new growth trajectory. I had a great experience. I learned a lot. I had multiple different roles over the course of time. So I ramped up for quite a while, but as this graph suggests, I kind of started to plateau again. So once again, I was in the space where I knew I needed some sort of change. I didn't know what was next, and I still didn't really know for sure what I wanted to do with my career. I didn't have that clarity. I was just kind of riding these opportunities that were being presented with me. I was blessed in that way. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure this out, talking to friends and family, but I still didn't know. So I was like, okay, do I need to get help? Do I need to pay for training or some other degree? This isn't working out. Do I need more education or skills? So I went the proverbial route and I got an MBA. That's the ticket. I'll get that, and that's going to make my shift, and I'll know exactly what I'm going to do. I'll take that 2 years. But 1 year in, and I was doing the MBA on top of working, I had some new friends. I had a lot of new perspectives. I had some new insights. I had some new skills and things that I didn't know before, but I still didn't know what I was going to do. And so I was in full plateau mode, to reference that graph. I was flat and I felt stuck. And even though I was getting some good reviews, some of the things at work were still kind of going the wrong direction. Because when I originally started, I was reporting to the president. Then I started reporting to a vice president. Then eventually I reported to a director. And then I was reporting to a manager. That was not going in the right direction. Okay. And I was in this space like, okay, but what's next? I was getting the MBA, probably could have gotten a job, but I didn't know what job was going to look like or what I was going to do, or I probably would have had to move if I was going to find something interesting. And it took me utilizing a lot of disparate tools and ideas to figure out really what was next for me. I spent months in my journal just writing down ideas of what this would look like. But eventually I found a lot of resources that helped me get clarity and now have helped many other people. And so I've sort of put that all together and gathered all the best resources from other career professionals and mindset development, things that I've been into for the last few years, and leadership and more. And so I started helping people, okay? Started helping them build some of their confidence and mindset and get some of that clarity and learn some of those networking skills and really do things that were going to help them be excited about the future. And you may be asking yourself, like, wait, isn't this hard to do? Like, does this process really work? Well, yes, and let me give you an example of someone who it seemed like had all the cards stacked against them. So Jay is someone I worked with pretty early on in me doing this work. He had a lot of things against him. He was an international student. He graduated in 2019, but because of some visa issues, he actually couldn't legally work in the United States for 8 months. So it wasn't until the beginning of 2020 that he finally got that sorted out. Well, that was February. He started getting things, getting some interview opportunities and things. And then, of course, the pandemic hit in March. That all got shut down, no opportunities. All this time, he was kind of underneath crippling student loans. And he didn't have federal loans because he was an international student. So he didn't just get the ability to say, hey, you can put a pause on all this. He still had to keep paying all this. And he was working minimum wage at a gas station just to make ends meet somehow, to take care of he and his wife. And so, yes, it can be hard. It was very hard for Jay, but we figured it out, okay? In the end, he went through this process. He had to go through a lot of mindset transformation, but in the end, he ended up with 3 job offers. Now he's thriving. We just talked a couple weeks ago. He bought what was on kind of his vision board, his dream car, and 8 months into his first job, he had already gotten another promotion, and he's looking ahead to even more great success. In fact, the job that he ended up going with, he told me that when he went to the interview, he had already networked with so many people. They said, hey, you're really popular around here. And he'd already talked to multiple people before he went into the interview. That's how relentless he was. So if Jay can do it, anyone can. And so the question I have for you is, are you ready? I'm going to walk you through the whole approach that we're going to take step by step on how to do this. We're going to go kind of fast. Again, it's not a magic button, but I'm going to give you the whole system. So be ready. I want you to type in the chat, like, yes, I'm ready. I want to know that you're ready to go. I'm going to take a drink of water while you grab notebook and everything, and we'll get started in earnest in just a second. All right, we ready to go? David says yes. Wayne says yes. Let's do this. All right. Let's cover the next level engineering career formula, or the 4 keys, okay? Now, I don't know if any of you are civil engineers, but I've worked with a number of them. Well, they know the value of a solid foundation. So we're going to build up from the ground up this process, starting with the foundation, the solid foundation that we need to have as we build this process of the career transition, okay? But what's inside of here? There are 3 main points that are critical to establish during this foundational period. And this foundational period, I find that so many people neglect or skip over, which we don't want to do. So the things that are included in here are the positive mindsets. What do you believe about yourself and the people you're going to be interacting with, interviewing with, networking with as you move through this career transition process that are going to help you move through this process? It's critical, because if you think wrong, you're going to be moving through and doing things the wrong way every step of the way, okay? We talked a little bit about this, the struggle that I had and many others have around career clarity. So important. If we don't have that North Star, if we don't know where we're headed, then we don't know what actions to take. And then finally, what I call personal branding, this kind of combination of the skills, the experience, the background, the interests, the passions, everything that makes you who you are and makes you different from the next person. Are you able to communicate what you bring to the table and deliver unique and significant value to a potential employer so you can really communicate that, okay? All these things, when we can figure this out, this foundation can help us move forward with that strong foundation. But if you don't have a foundation, well, if we're looking at a house, it's certainly not going to work out well. We're going to crumble, and the whole process that we build on top of this isn't going to be as successful. And what that looks like when you don't have a foundation, I see people driven by fear all the time when it comes to their career. Maybe they're about to graduate, or they've graduated, or they're unemployed for one reason or another, or they just feel stuck in their career, and fear is what's driving them rather than opportunity, okay? And if they have failures or setbacks or rejections, they see that as an indicator that they aren't good enough. And that's what they believe, okay? When we don't have this foundation, they're so scattered in what they're trying to do, they don't have that clarity, so they can't communicate their value in written or spoken form. Maybe they've had some tough breaks, but they take that personally and they believe that they are somehow deficient. And in the end, what breaks my heart as much as anything is they stop trying because they're so frustrated. And so does any of this sound familiar to you? Any of you experienced any of these feelings as you've moved through different stages or situations in your own careers or your own lives? Just let me know in the chat. I'm curious if anyone else is. Story of my life in dating, says David. Well, that's a different class that we might send you to. But it's funny, sometimes people ask me about relationship advice as well. You know, it's fun what happens. But Michael's saying, yes. Driven by fear for sure. So, but let's think about the other way, okay? If we can solidify that foundation, what happens? Well, we have these strong mindsets that can actually help us see challenges as opportunities and ways to grow. The challenges aren't problems, they're actually opportunities for us to move and learn, okay? We have this clarity in where we're headed, a confidence in your path, and you have that personal brand that you can clearly communicate who you are and the value that you deliver. And so these are the questions that you should be able to answer for yourself if you have this foundation figured out. So this would be kind of interesting for you to consider. Can you answer these questions as we move through these right now? If you can't, there's probably some work for you to do, okay? Do I have the confidence to really make this career shift? Because let me tell you, if you don't believe in yourself, it's going to be a hard time for you to convince a company to believe in you that you're the right fit for the job if you don't believe in yourself, right? So you need to have that confidence in there. That doesn't mean you need to be completely prideful, but it means you need to believe in who you are and what you bring to the table. Things like, what are the most important things to me as I move towards a new role? That's some of that clarity stuff we're talking about. Identifying what are your greatest skills, your strengths, your passions that could provide unique value to a potential employer. What sets you apart? And are you willing to do what it takes to get out of your comfort zone? And so can you answer these questions? Okay. If you can, then great. Very rarely, though, do I see that people can answer all of these questions. So I want to give you a specific activity that I do regularly and I give to many of my clients of a way to kind of shift some of this mindset stuff, especially in the confidence sector, okay? And this uses a principle called the gap and the gain. What the truth is, when we're trying to move through changes in our lives, we often focus way too much on the gap between where I am and where I want to be or wish I was, okay? And when we focus on that gap, we're always in this mindset space of lack, or I'm not there, or I'm frustrated because I'm not really getting the results that I want. If instead we can focus more on the gain, which is the difference between where I am now and where I used to be, focusing on progress and wins and continuing to move forward, then the mindset starts to shift. So what I'd recommend for you is to spend just 15 to 30 minutes. It doesn't take that long. And get out a journal, or you can do this certainly on a computer, and just write down in list form for 5 to 10 minutes each the gains, the wins, the progress you have made, and think back in the last 30 days, think back in the last 90 days, think back in the last year. And you can go to any time scale you want, but these are the ones that I typically do. And I find that when we just spend a few minutes, turn everything else off, just focus on this, often amazed at how far you've actually come, even when we feel that we're completely stuck or frustrated with where we're at right now. I did this just last week. I do this on a quarterly basis. So we hit the end of Q3. I did it personally. And that week I was kind of struggling with some things, and I was amazed to say, hey, look at all the things that I'd actually done and accomplished. And it got me in a state of gratitude and confidence to keep moving forward and pressing through some of the things that I wanted to do in ways that I wanted to help people. Okay, so I do this personally. I've seen so many other people use this. This is a great mindset shift activity. Okay, so that's just one of many resources and activities we can do to build this foundation. But we have to have this foundation, have that confidence, those mindsets, that clarity, that personal brand, so that we can move forward into the next key or the next stage of this process, which is strategy. Okay, this is where we have to do the right things in the right way. So the different pieces that are inside of here this is trying to get us those opportunities. Certainly when we think about a career opportunity. So we have to figure out how to do effective strategic networking, okay? LinkedIn is a critical tool that we need to be able to use in careers these days. I'm a big believer in it. And certainly people think about resumes. But strategy, most of you know that maybe I need to do, I need to have a great resume or do something on LinkedIn or network appropriately. This is where usually people start and they neglect the foundation. But if we can build that foundation, then we're going to build a strategy that is informed by what we had already learned here. But certainly, what happens without a strategy? I want to go back to some history here, okay? When you don't have a good strategy, it leads to inconclusive results. So you could be the best engineer out there and better trained and deliver better value, but how is anyone going to know if you don't go about doing this the right way? So to use a historical example, for anyone who's into naval history, in the early 1800s, the prevailing tactics when two naval armies were coming at each other is they would get in line, pass each other parallel, and just fire broadsides at each other. Okay, so it didn't really matter that much how much better trained or better your crew was, because it really just depended on, did you have more ships and did you have bigger ships with more guns, because you're just firing broadsides. But a British admiral, Horatio Nelson, had a problem in what was called the Battle of Trafalgar. He was completely outnumbered by an armada of French and Spanish ships that Napoleon had sent. And he knew that he was going to have to take a different approach, because if he did it the traditional way, there's no way he was going to come out alive. So he did things differently. He broke his fleet into two columns, and he launched them at the Franco-Spanish fleet perpendicularly instead of parallel. And so he knew that those lead ships were going to have some problems, perhaps, but he figured that his better trained crew were going to be able to move through this, and that those less trained Franco-Spanish gunners were going to have a hard time adjusting here. And you know what? Because he did things differently, he was proved right. And the French and Spanish lost 22 ships that day, which was 2/3 of their fleet. And the British lost 0. Okay, he did the things completely differently because he had to. So a good strategy and a different strategy led to good or different results than he otherwise had if he just did everything the same way everyone else had done before. Okay, so that's what a good strategy does. It turns that challenge into an opportunity. It allows you to do things differently than other people do, thus getting different or better results. And it gives you tools to succeed. So I want to ask you one more question, another one of these quick chats, okay? Take a quick break here. I want you to type in the chat box the answer to this question. What do you think is the average number of applications that are submitted for a corporate job posting? Just for an average corporate job. And by the way, wait till we say 3, 2, 1, but thanks for sharing that. No worries. So type in your number. Let's go 3, 2, 1, enter. 500, 200, 1,000, 200, 1,000. And the truth is there's a huge range, right? We're just talking average, okay? So if we look at the data, this was data from Glassdoor they put together. And they said on average, each corporate job posting attracts 250 resumes or applications. Okay, so if we think about this, an average of about 5 are going to get an interview. So that's about a 2% chance of getting an interview if you just submit an application. Okay, so think about 50 applications, maybe that's you 1 interview if all things are being equal. Okay, but of course only 1 gets a job, so that's a 0.4% chance of getting the job if you only apply. So, if you're looking for a new opportunity, have you put in 250 applications? Do you even want to put in that many applications? Michael's saying he has put in that many applications. Kudos to you. You've been working your tail off. But if we're here, we're talking about this, we probably need to think about a different approach. Okay. It's not the amount of applications that I would want to spend time putting in. We probably haven't had all that much fun doing that. So, this is kind of the prevailing tactics. This is like going parallel. This is what everyone else is doing. And it's a bad career strategy. searching LinkedIn or Indeed or all the other job boards for hours and hours and hours. Then, hopefully they have that quick apply button. That makes it easier in our lives. Or we just apply, and hope for the best. And maybe we'll find a recruiter in that company and say, hey, just so you know, I applied for this job and I'd be excited to work with you. Hopefully I can get an interview. But unsurprisingly, that sort of message gets very little response. Okay? And even though this doesn't actually net that much result for people, they still keep doing it. And those people, Albert Einstein might say that those people are insane, because he said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But I don't think any of you are actually insane, which is why you're here. You're trying to think of different ways that you can go about doing this. So a good career strategy, a much better and different than the majority of people, is to utilize that foundation that we talked about earlier, that clarified personal brand, to optimize your LinkedIn and your resume. So it's going to read and be different. But then identify companies that you're interested in working for and that actually align with those purposes and values that you identified as you got clarity, and then proactively reach out to individual people in those companies seeking informational interviews to build relationships rather than just asking for a job. Build those relationships, gain advocates inside of various companies, which then leads to actual job interviews and refreshes your career or starts your career with an opportunity that truly suits you. Here's the funny thing. I hear all the time people are like, if I could just talk to someone or get an interview, then they'd know that I could be a good fit. But then all they do is they keep just applying for jobs and hoping that someone reaches out to want to talk to them. A better strategy is to say, hey, I want to talk to people. I'm going to focus on how do I talk to people. That's what this is suggesting, where we proactively reach out to people. We try and get conversations. We try and talk to people, which then leads to better relationships and opportunities, okay? That's what I'm trying to get you to focus on. Not that many people do it, or certainly do it well, but if you can, I've seen it yield great results, okay? It's different, it's uncomfortable, but it's impactful. So once we have the strategy figured out, okay, then it leads to final opportunity for execution, okay? And this is like the tip of the pyramid here. This is when you have those opportunities for interviews and then even get those job offers, and you have to negotiate, okay? So we have to do these things. We have to execute at a high level so we can kind of put the cap on things and really move forward with our next opportunity as effectively as possible. Because the last thing you want to do is get an interview and waste that opportunity because you were unprepared or you knew little about the company. Because the people that are interviewing you, they're looking to see if you meet the requirements of the role and if you can connect with the skills and the things that they're looking for. And if you can't, well, that's going to have a hard time. So you can't go into an interview unprepared or not ready to really put your best foot forward. And then if you get a job offer, what I see many engineers, it's certainly not a class that we take in engineering school is negotiation. So they don't know how to negotiate. So they often don't even try. So they leave money or other things that they care about on the table. And in fact, even those who do try and negotiate or who are experienced at it, research suggests that 80% of seasoned executives often leave money on the table during negotiations. So you as an inexperienced negotiator probably do too. And even just small changes, if you can negotiate your job offer, can lead to millions of dollars in differences across the course of your career. So don't let this be you, all right? You gotta negotiate. Excuse me, I'm going to get a drink real quick. But we need to have the solid execution, because it's going to give us the opportunity to really make the most of everything that we have. We don't want to leave an interview or a negotiation or start a job with feelings of regret. And it's really going to allow us to maximize the transition that we're going to make into something that's not just good, but as great as it possibly can be, because we've designed it and really did as much as we could. So let me tell you about someone else I worked with. I'm going to call him James. I changed his name. He was an experienced civil engineer. He's a professional engineer certification. He had some big career goals. He was in a good company, and he liked it, but he didn't see some of the accelerated growth path for him and some of the things and ways that he wanted to grow with particular types of technologies that he wanted to utilize, and he had some experience and expertise in. And so he actually had another company reach out to him with another opportunity and share some excitement in utilizing these specific skills that he was excited about. But he wanted to explore this opportunity, wanted to figure out how to appropriately negotiate because he didn't know how to do that well, while also keeping his relationships intact at his current company. So we actually worked together and adjusted his approach. We got down to what was most important to him in his career and as he continued forward. And we put together a detailed negotiation plan, the questions that he would have, the issues that were most important to him, and a way to uncover what was really possible for that other company to consider. He went through multiple interactions with them, had some dinners and other conversations. In the end, he accepted a new offer with a higher growth trajectory than where he was at and got an immediate $20,000 plus raise. And we were also able to plan out how to have some of those I'm leaving discussions at his current job so we could leave well as well. So some pretty great results as we move through. Just focus on the execution piece for the most part. Okay, so that's just an example. We have to be prepared. There's a lot of things as far as interview prep and negotiation, but you got to be able to do this. So now we've gone through those three main stages: foundation, strategy, execution. But what surrounds all of that is having some support. This is the final piece of the formula to get career success here. And inside of here is a community, having the people around you who can support you so you're not moving through this change alone, and also getting some coaching and mentorship so you feel like from people who know what they're talking about, know what they're doing, so they can help you through that process. Okay? But we just really need support from people because as much as engineers perhaps don't want to admit it, we're social beings, okay? And we can get stuck in our own heads and analysis paralysis, but going through changes and transformations as part of a group of people and getting connected with others creates a shared experience that makes it more meaningful. And then you also get coaching and mentoring to make sure you don't stay stuck. We need that help and support to move through these transformations, because doing it alone, and even just doing it in general, it's exhausting and it's often emotionally draining. And I'm just a huge believer that truly nothing in life should be done completely alone. You need some trusted people on your team to help you be successful, and career transformation and transitions are no different. So I just want to give you some specific tips when you're considering finding a mentor or coach. They should have some specific things you should be looking for. They should have successfully helped others navigate through similar challenges as what you're doing. They ideally should have some personal experience in your industry or something related to it. Ideally, you certainly want them to have contacts across the industry, a wider network than you have, so they can help you get those opportunities. And they should be willing to give you resources, time, and attention to make sure you don't stay stuck along the way. Okay, really help you move through that process. They should not be someone who's had no previous experience or results to back up what they're claiming. Have a network that's less influential than your own. Or just simply give you some ideas for no help for actually implementing through that process. Okay, so I highly encourage you to leverage the communities that are around you, or find other communities and get some support and coaching and mentors that can help you move through this process. And that's the whole picture, this big picture process of moving through this intentional career transition. Move from really solidifying that foundation to crafting a strategic process so we can get those opportunities, and then executing on those, all supported by coaching and community that can help us through the process. And I promise you, if you utilize this formula and these different pieces, things will accelerate for you. Okay? So here we are. I've walked you through my whole process. And I just want to ask you the question. Did I keep my promise? I promised that you were going to have some clear actions and adjustments that you need to make that intentional career transition. Do you have some new ideas? I truly want to know. Do you have some new ideas and some actions that you can take to change what you're doing right away so you can get the results you're looking for? Did I keep my promise? I want to know. Can you share in the chat with me? And I'm going to get another drink while you share that. Seeing some yeses. Appreciate that. Very good. Very good. Glad that I kept my promise. That's important to me. Focusing on the foundation, says Matthew. But my other question is here, like with the things we talked about, are you all good from here? Like, well, maybe yes and no. Like you could certainly move through. We've talked about this, but even in its simplest form, some of the most complex things can be explained. So like Warren Buffett, if you're talking to him, one of the richest people on the planet, he could explain investing in just, one sentence. Buy low, sell high, and only invest in things that you understand. But it's the details of how to actually do that that make all the difference, that makes him be able to do that. And so I've just found that people who are committed to truly finding the answers, even when things aren't looking great, like Jay, and even sometimes if they have to pay for it, like that's what I did, that's what Jay did, and we need to figure this out. So these are some of the things that honestly you have to figure out and make sure that you've got lined up. And these are just a few questions like, hey, what direction do you want to take in your career? Have you had that figured out? How do you want to show and communicate your personal brand? Do you know how to craft a great resume and LinkedIn profile and utilize that effectively? Do you know how to get recruiters and hiring managers to actually talk to you? We know we need to do that. How do you get those interview opportunities or those informational interviews we talked about? How do you actually negotiate your job offer? And where can you find the mentoring support you need? And everything else that you don't know right now. Like, all those resources, all those things can be found online, and you can go figure them out by yourself, or potentially I can help. And so I can show you, I can go even deeper with you and show you the entire system that's helped many, many engineers like you get life-changing career upgrades. And so I'm just going to spend just a few minutes here sharing the details about a training and a solution that I have for you. And then I want to go to Q&A, and I want to answer any questions that you might have. But I just want to share this with a few minutes. And if this is a value for you, great. If not, I'm so glad that you've been here, and I hope you got some value out of our time together as I promised I would. But I've designed this program that I call the Engineering Career Accelerator Program. And we go through step by step how to go from foundation to strategy to execution, give you the support and the resources you need. So we start with mindset, how to get your mind right, how to reframe how you see some of these challenges and see people appropriately. And there's some assessments and things we do to really help you gain more awareness of where you're at right now and some of the changes you need to make there on the mindset perspective. We help you get career clarity, know exactly where you want to take your career, identify those core values and desires that you have, go through intentional activities, and identifying your genius zone so you can solidify those motivations. And really, it's about kind of unleashing that potential that you have and establishing that personal brand. Going to teach you how to optimize LinkedIn, which is showing off that personal brand in a very public way. We're going to really make it easy, show you where to focus on first and kind of get those low-hanging fruit, those things that matter most. Teach you how to increase your connections and move through this in an effective way. I'm going to help you rock your resume that really highlights the skills, which, by the way, that's what recruiters actually care about, is what you can do and bring to the table. Teach you how to easily customize things for every job without feeling like you have to rewrite it every time. Teach you how to network. We're going to have teach you how to truly focus on those companies, not the job boards, the strategic stuff we were talking about earlier. Really utilize and have and hold effective informational interviews and really build meaningful relationships. Get to the interview, build the personal confidence through positive body language, learn what you need to research, and how to really truly tell your story and get them start to visualize you in the job solving their problems. And then certainly we want to negotiate. You're going to learn the cost of not negotiating so you don't make that mistake, but you're going to learn the basic negotiating concepts and walk you step by step through the process from offer to final negotiation, accepting it. So you know what you need to do as you move through this process. So all of this training is things you get, and it could take you far on your own. But I want to give you even more, and so we do more personalized implementation. Each week we have weekly group coaching calls. This is an opportunity for us to work together with others, establishing that community, other great people like those on this call, to move through your transformation. We have 1-hour Zoom calls each week. These are Thursdays at 4:30 Pacific time or 7:30 Eastern time. And the goal here is to make sure you keep making progress, get personalized help, get your questions answered. And the great thing is I'm there, but also you have this whole group of other people who are there who are trying to answer your questions as well and talk about what's working, what's not working as we move through these career transitions. You get access to a private engineering career community where we're there to increase our network and help each other. I've seen a lot of people help each other. They've connected there, been able to share ideas and job opportunities and references that can help each other. And so this whole program is designed to be a perfect fit for someone who really enjoys, we have fast-paced video lessons. There's a bunch of PDF guides and templates. We have these weekly group coachings, this online community, and also unlimited email support from me personally. And I put an asterisk there because if you're crazy and you're going to send me 10 emails a day with email overload, then I'll probably just boot you out and send you on your way. Okay, I don't want you to be crazy, but I help people every day who send me notes and say, hey, I'm trying to move through this process. If you send me a note, I'm going to respond. I'm a real person. I'm a human. And I do this all the time because my success is your success. I want you to be successful in this program, and I want to personalize these things to you. Now, I've helped people get placed and grow their careers in multiple places, some of the most notable names: Amazon, Microsoft, Micron, Nike, Firefly Aerospace, Schneider Electric, Esri, Degreed, T-Mobile, Los Alamos National Labs, Lockheed Martin, Daimler, and so many other companies that I've helped people move through. And by the way, remember Ben, who we talked about at the very beginning? This is what Ben said after we talked. Ben actually ended up with 2 job offers, and one to work for one of his dream companies, Blue Origin, where he's actually at and thriving now. But Ben is just one example and is representative of many people who've had life-changing results from working together. So if you're asking the question real quick, like, hey, how do I sign up? How much is this? I'll share that in a moment. And it's not like I'm going to change it, but I do want to ask, if we could create these sorts of results for you and get an opportunity to start or grow your career, I'm just curious, like, how much do you think that would be worth? So I really am curious. Like, put it in the chat. And it obviously is not a trick. On the next page, I'm gonna share what it is. But I'm just curious, like, if we get these sort of results, what would that actually be worth to you? So share with me in the chat. What do you think? And I'll take a quick drink while you ponder that for a second. A lot of people deep in thought here. When we consider the types of upgrades and raises and things we got, there's a huge opportunity here. And certainly if you're going from unemployed to employed, we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars every month that we're going to be gaining here. So here's the deal. Here's the rub. It's not that expensive. you can join this whole program with everything for $597, and I also want to give you a guarantee. I want you to feel comfortable. 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked. If you join the program, you check out your first group coaching session, and you're like, it's not a good fit or something, I'll give you a refund, like no question. And you can keep getting access to group coaching for just $197 a month after that first month. So $597 for the first month to get the course that you get access to for life, and then $197 after that. When you think about it, if you can earn that back and more so much, so quickly, if you can just get hired 1 week earlier if you're unemployed, negotiate a salary 5%, 10%, 20% or more higher, and think about the increased performance because you'll be doing greater work that's more in alignment with your goals. You're going to find new mentors, grow your network, and be on a new growth trajectory. Also got a few other bonuses for you. Have what I call the Hiring Insiders Vault. I interviewed a number of HR managers, recruiters, and hiring managers who can give you some kind of those insider looks there. Okay, and I know I'm going a bit long, but I just want to mention these special bonuses here for you. And you also get access to my own network. Over 15,000 followers now, actually. And I'm willing to make introductions, open doors. I've done this with many people that have helped them land opportunities. And so I want to open up my own network to you if we're working together. So if this sounds good to you, and only if this sounds good to you, here's how you join. So you go to www. And for some reason the www. Is actually important in this case. I've tested this out. And go to engineeringcareeraccelerator.com/ECA group. And I'm going to throw this in the chat for you as well to make it a little bit easier. So let me grab that for you. Okay. And can I get someone to do me a favor and help me out? I've had a few issues here, and the worst thing that can happen is if I set this up and share this with you and then it doesn't work. Okay, can I get someone to click on the link and make sure it actually works? Michael says it works. Good news. Okay, thank you, Michael. So I'm not going to give you this lie that the program's going to go away and you'll never be able to get in if you don't sign up right away or anything like that. But that being said, I don't want you to get stuck in the analysis paralysis and not take action if you really feel like this is a good fit for you. So if you know this is right for you, and only if you know this is right for you, I have another bonus, or just really a discount that expires in just a few days. Okay, I want to give you the weekend, but a fast action bonus where you can get $100 off if you use the code ECA now. If you say join now, you go into the process, you input this as a code, it's going to give you $100 off. But it expires on Monday, October the 11th at midnight. So that'll take it down to $497 for that first month. And I do this because I want you to have the time to talk to a spouse or partner, look over all the details, make sure this is really a good fit for you. But I don't want you to waffle on this forever. And the last thing I want you to do is not take action if you feel like this is not a good fit for you. Okay? Because here's those success principles. Do what works, not what doesn't. We've talked about strategy and the definition of insanity with Einstein. And then get training and support, even if it isn't from me. I don't care if it is from me or not, but get some training and support to help you through this process, and keep persevering and keep moving towards what you want to accomplish. Okay? I really care about your success, want you to be successful, and if I can help you do that, then it's nothing but a pleasure and honor to help you. So I promise some time for Q&A. I promise anything goes. Don't be shy. I want to answer any questions you have, and thank you so much for being here. And for anyone who jumps in and purchases right away, jump right into the first lesson on mindset. Start taking action right away. But I'll stick around as long as needed to answer any questions that any of you have. So I'm going to take a drink because I've been talking a lot. But who has a question a burning question on their mind they're trying to figure out here? Feel free to unmute and just ask away.
So one question, Jeff, about the program is uh, you have a one-time payment and then a monthly payment. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so let's say if we don't go with that monthly payment thing, the whole course access still remains. Is that right?
Yeah, the course access continues. That additional monthly payment is just for continued access to the live group coaching calls. But you continue to keep access to the online course. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Also, if I understand correctly, like I saw like when you're showing the menu on uh, the course menu, right? When we log in, it was showing the resume, how to build the resume, how to build the LinkedIn, and all those things. But will there be any one-to-one things as well? Because this LinkedIn and resumes are kind of very personal, right? So
Mm-hmm.
uh, are there kind of uh, any one-to-one feedback also
Yes.
available?
So via email, you can say, hey, I did this. Can you give me some feedback? I'm happy to do that. If you wanted to go, much deeper and do some one-on-one coaching calls, I have some programs for that as well. They're much more detailed on the one-on-one side, and you get even more support and stuff like that, where we can add that on to this. But this is,
Got it.
for just this, we wouldn't do that. But certainly, if you send me an email, you want me to take a look at something, I'm happy to do that for you.
Got it. So at least that offline thing would be available, kind of. As
Yes.
you're saying, like if kind of, I think that was a very kind of a fair ask, right? Like if anyone bombards you with the email, obviously it won't be possible for any human to catch up. But
Right.
anything which is kind of in a uh, kind of
Yeah.
possible to handle, those requests will be
Absolutely.
handled.
I don't want
Yeah.
you to feel stuck. Like I want to give you everything I can in regards to the online course and then the group coaching. I've also had some group coaching sessions because some people asked for it to do, things focused on a resume. And so we went through looking at multiple resumes, live during that group coaching session so we could dive deep into, getting specific feedback for a few people. So we've done that as well. So the people who we were reviewing for got a lot of insights into it, but also that was great for everyone to be learning along the way. So we can do something like that if you ask for it. So I really want to make sure you have that balance of, and own, I want to get everything I can out of this program, and we want to help you be successful.
One last question is about the community. Like, do you use some kind of uh, um, channel, like either Slack or something
Yeah,
where
so
this community can communicate, or what's
Yeah, so
the?
right now we're using LinkedIn to make it easier. It's already platform that everyone's on. It allows us to connect easily with each other on LinkedIn on that platform and ask questions and have conversations there. So right now we're doing a LinkedIn group.
Got it. Okay. Oh, I never knew that LinkedIn has this group. Uh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Vikas.
Thank you.
Is that helpful information for you?
Sure. I think that really clarifies. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
you're so
Yeah.
welcome. Any other questions?
Hi, Jeff. I have a question. If I choose like the month mentor,
Mm-hmm.
can I cancel anytime?
Yes, you can. So, yeah, if you decide to do just that first month, you can cancel future subscriptions, or if you do, 1 month and want to go to 2 months, and that's great. And then, you feel like you've done that. Yeah, you can cancel and say, hey, I'm done. That just stops, once that month is over, when you'd be invited to those group coaching calls. But that's, you can cancel
Okay.
whenever you feel like you've gotten everything you need out of the program.
I have another question.
Hmm.
I'm an international student and I did a transaction career. I worked for 10 years, then moved to United and new major as a mechanical engineer, and this is my first year. So, do you think that is there have the opportunity to find a job like companies that can hire me as one international student, or I need to start the process as one internship first and go
Yeah.
like the
Fernanda,
process, the
are you
normal.
about to graduate, or are you graduating really soon? Where are you at in your education right now?
I intend to graduate in 2024 because I'm just start
Okay.
my major.
Yeah. So likely if you're just starting this new major, then likely, yeah, you probably will be starting with some internships and things like that. That's pretty standard. Um, or certainly leveraging some of the skills you've done previously if you're, transferring to, from another industry. There might be some other opportunities there for you, but likely, yeah, you'll probably be looking for some internship or co-op opportunities to start.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions for anyone who's here?
Hi, the question. So
Yeah.
you mentioned on the website you shared that there's a section where you interviewed recruiters and hiring managers, and they shared their advice.
Yes.
So, not to doubt the quality of anything that you share, obviously, but what would you think makes your program different to either like free websites you can get out there or other coaching plans, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, pretty much all the information that I share is out there in some degree or form that you could find on YouTube or somewhere else. The difficulty is trying to wade through all of that and figure out how that applies to you, and also have that help and support, right? We've got a track record. You can see examples of a ton of people that I've worked with in various engineering industries. Um, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but in the end, it's about where are you going to get the results? And if you feel like you can do this on your own, I hope you do. But I've seen over and over again that when you get some level of help and support through this process, it gets you invested in truly taking the actions and the initiative to getting the results you're looking for. And you move faster, you have more accountability. I've seen that over and over again. And, I have people say, hey, I'm going to try and do this on my own. We connect, a month or 2 months later, and nothing's really changed. And I don't want that for any of you. I want you to invest in yourself and believe that you can do this. And I've been able to help a lot of people just like you figure this out. So that's all.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Any other questions?
I have one really quick question.
Yeah.
Something that I've been struggling with, which it seems like a lot of career coaches can't really seem to offer, is that like I'm kind of in the stage right now where I'm getting interviews and I'm getting responses from companies, but I'm getting rejected a lot because I don't have direct experience. And yet I'm looking at entry-level positions. It seems like I'm stuck in this loop of I can't get a job because I don't have experience, and I don't have experience because I don't have a job.
Mm-hmm. Chicken and the
Does
egg.
your program offer, yeah, chicken and egg. Does your program offer any sort of advice or clarity on how, a candidate can build up that kind of skill set to look attractive to these companies when it seems like their requirements are, contradictory? For like if I'm trying to break into a new industry, make that career transition, they're all looking for people experience. But if you've never that industry before and you're out of college and disqualified from 95% of internships that are out there, how do you get that experience that they're looking for?
Yeah, so it's a tough situation, and I've worked with, Jay was just one example. I've worked with multiple people who have, because of pandemic and other things, they've had they graduated and then something happened and they had some employment gaps or other things, and there's that chicken and the egg. Hey, you need experience, but can't get that experience till you actually have experience. But I'll just share a recent example. One person I worked with graduated in 2019 and couldn't land his first engineering job. And then the pandemic hit. It was even harder. He was a chemical process engineer. Okay. And so we talked about it and ended up working together starting just, I think in June, we started working together. And he said, yes, I'm going to do this. And a lot for him was some of the mindset stuff that he needed to shift because he was having a hard time really believing in himself. And that came through in his interviews, came through in any conversations, and he wasn't getting that many interviews because he'd had this thing. So he went through massive mindset transformations. Also, and it still took him a few interviews. I think he ended up with 3 on-site interviews. The first 2 didn't work out, even though they went reasonably well. But he just emailed me just last week that he got a job offer that was above and beyond in terms of salary and other things that he was expecting. And he couldn't be happier, that he can, go start his career now. So that's just one of many examples. All I can tell you is that, everyone's a little bit different as far as what they're trying to do and trying to accomplish. But you can do it, and we can figure this out and figure out, for sometimes there are some courses or things that might apply to your specific industry that you're trying to get into, but there's no blanket statement that we can say, yeah, you need to do, everyone needs to do this sort of thing. Really need to personalize that to you, and that's what we can do via email and group coaching, or if you want to do some one-on-one coaching on top as well, then we can dive into some of that stuff that's specific to your particular challenge. Is that helpful, Michael?
Sorry. Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, I just want to, just note, any of you who are still here, that, there's a reason. If you're not sure whether to do this, I encourage you to make a decision. Make a decision, say yes or no as soon as you can so that you can move forward. If it's a no, go find something else that you feel like is going to be a fit for you. If it's yes, let's do this. Let's start working together. Because I really care about your success, and the last thing I want you to do is do nothing and keep getting the same results that you're getting right now, because you're here because you want to change. So I just thank you for being here. Hope you commit to yourself to doing, taking the actions you need to take to get different results, so we can do this. But I'm happy to be here. If anyone still has questions, I want to be here until you don't have any more. So any other questions for me? Wayne, Matthew, anyone else?
Yeah, I had a question on the one-on-one consultation you mentioned. That's going to be a separate thing from what you showed, correct?
Yeah, correct. So we can either add that on, or I've got some other options that kind of start with it baked in. If you want to consider that, you can send me a note and I can send you more information on that as well. But I've just kind of presented the group coaching focus tonight. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Looks like I think we've got all questions answered. So thanks again for being here. Hope you have a great night, and wish nothing but your success. And I hope that for at least some of you, we get to work together. So thanks so much for being here. Take care.
Thank you, Jeff. This was really
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Cheers.
Bye, everyone. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.